Okay, I know this is bordering on narcissistic. I listened to the video I posted, and I think I'm gonna take it down because it's too scattered. It's not focused enough, and instead I'm gonna read something that I just wrote in response to the concept of us living in a simulation, which is an idea. It's an interesting idea, right? Um, I absolutely agree. I find merit in the concept that we're experiencing a simulation, that we even have the ability to wonder such things, and that many collectively embrace the idea lends credibility to the concept. And if we are, it's easy to imagine that we, the gamers, are naturally going to evolve the parameters of the construct via observation of and engagement, entanglement with it. This would it would sort of infer, as my sister suggested, a creator, like who freaking created the simulation. It would have to be a hyper intelligent bunch of beings who are, in a sense, they're manipulating us, which would brings to mind the Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail. It's like a cyclical chicken egg thing. Who created the creator? I'm not going down that wormhole. It's a freaking dead end. I do suggest that every conceivable construct lies within and is in fact consciousness itself. Like the time space mystery of everything that sparks our curiosity, but which curiosity perhaps hasn't really been able to decipher or explain yet. It's like and like the way I imagine it, it's like a massive super E library, like a massive, like, infinite library where everything exists in some sort of superposition imaginarium as a possibility. And some have learned to access or hack this massive data bank, which includes everything from their own microbiome, like the way that we are what we eat, right? Like you can actually change your cellular health by what you take into your body. So that's like, some people call it biohacking, I guess. We can go from everything from that to, hacking the idea realms, like the conceptual realms themselves. And then there's others who have something that I refer to as head down syndrome. And they're kind of slaves to the system. They're slaves to the simulation, in a sense, because they don't really even know that they're in it. It's like akin to being like a hijacked bystander. Uh, it's akin to poop. Some sink into consciousness, and some float on the surface of it. As my other sister suggested, I think this whole thing has a lot to do with the microbiome. I think that's key. But anyway, it bears mentioning that our species has been at war for about 97% of its known history. And here I've written, and the tired, boring, broken record repeat campaigns, political, etc., to continue to engage in this lunacy, instead of encouraging and funding people to spend their time and energy currency on what truly matters. The profound interest of the curious gamer is not being met or even acknowledged. This is suspicious to me. It's not consistent with having reason. It's not consistent with free will. This makes me think that the simulation idea has more, it likely has merit. But if it is a simulation, like a sort of chimeric experiment derived from consciousness itself, and I'm not going down that wormhole, like I said, it's certainly possible that having heightened consciousness, like developing your character, like in a game, D&D adventure, through experience and intelligence, like skill gathering, could render one capable of enhanced rendering capacity. As in, it's like developing immunity, in a sense, to the finite bit depth limitations or parameters of the construct itself. In the end, whether we're talking about subatomic particles, organisms, biology, hackers in a simulated construct, or artificially intelligent beings, from my perspective, the nature of existence and the curious gamers, the adventurers, this itself guarantees potentially limitless expansion. And yeah. By the way, I had a really neat experience today. I didn't feel like it. This was one of those days where I'm like, I don't want to frickin' go into the meditation. I don't want to do my, it was one of those days where, it's like, okay, motivation isn't there, but you still have to practice. This is what creates the person. It's the application of the practice, whether you want to or not. So I went out and did it, and then, I walked around, and I walked around quite a bit. I went through the park and saw someone doing the 8 brocades. And I decided to quietly, at a distance, do my 8 brocades again. And it's probably like an hour. And at the end, he had this giant smile on his face. And he never looked at me until when he was gathering his things. He had this big smile on his face, and I was watching a bumblebee, and his line of sight met my line of sight. We were both just smiling, like, just activated, I suppose, with this, just connected, completely and thoroughly filled with life force and grounded. And we both just smiled at each other, and he said, "Thank you." And I was like, "Thank you." It was a perfect interaction. It was so resonating with the kind of being that I am. It was so polite. It was so courteous. It was quiet. It was like a genuine acknowledgement of personal responsibility and the effect that we can have on others. Okay, bye!